Hi there, and welcome back to part 14 of History of Fleetwood Mac Singles. I'm Anita, and today we're going to be going into the second part of the Mirage singles. I started the last video with Hold Me, and that ended up being a 25-minute video, which I didn't mean to go so long into, especially with so many of the same picture. We have a pretty decent pile that I'd like to get through in about the same amount of time today. Which will be Gypsy through Can't Go Back, the remaining 4 singles from the album Mirage. Before I get too much more started, I do want to remind you that I started a giveaway in the last video. If you watched the last video, there's all the information on how to enter to win this. This giveaway is good through the 3rd of May, and I just hope that you will find interest enough to watch his videos to possibly get something. I have a lot of stuff, lot more to give away over time, and again, just to thank you. I'm especially really happy that people find some interest. You know, I don't think it's the main interest for people like it is for me, but I just find it very interesting that, you know, there's this many items that came from an LP that sold so many units to so many countries, but then there's all these little pieces of vinyl that have found their way all over the world. Were used in different respects, whether it's just somebody's record player, a radio station, and then found their way back to my collection. And I just kind of find that interesting. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into Gypsy, which was the second single from the Mirage album. And this single came out in August of 1982, so 2 months after the record was released in June of 1982. As many of you know, Gypsy was a huge success for video-wise for Fleetwood Mac. Hold Me had done very well, but the Gypsy video just really soared for the MTV era, and MTV is pretty still new, and people making just costly, expensive videos to vie for the best position and to really promote their album. So Gypsy was a big single for Fleetwood Mac. I don't remember where it peaked. I'll probably have more information like that when it comes to the albums. But I do know that, again, the video just really sparked a whole new interest in Fleetwood Mac. Again, just the symbolism and the love of the song, which it's a lot of people's favorite song. So starting off, we just have a USA promotional, actually it's not even a promotional, it's just a regular US non-picture sleeve, Gypsy, backed with Cool Water. Cool Water was a song written by Bob Nolan, and I can't remember who made it a big hit, but it's this little kind of country, twangy little song, and it's one of the few B-sides that's hasn't seen much coverage. There's all the B-sides where it's on a 45, but then it made an album called Revenge of the Killer Bees, and that album came out in 1983 or 84, something like that. I'll show it in my collection at some point. But it had Cool Water on it, and it's a great little song. It's a strange little B-side, and I think that after Silver Springs, I believe it's the only song, well, the next song by Fleetwood Mac that didn't make an album, was not an album cut. So the first real true B-side that we had was Silver Springs, and then this one, Cool Water, because most all B-sides, all the other records I've shown you and talked about, those were they were album cuts. So Cool Water was a non-album cut for Mirage, and this would be the second single, which is another USA release. Just this one had the picture sleeve. Again, we'll see a lot of, continuity where they use the same photo over and over. Picture sleeve, the back, not much difference. This is the front of the album Mirage and the back of the album artwork. So there's that. And then we have the Canadian one, which is, again, Gypsy with Cool Water. And this one is actually a promotional one. More white sleeve, much like the Japanese ones. Just a little bit more of a blanched faded out color to make it more of a promotional, pardon me, a little more kind of creamy colored here. So that's Canada. Out of Mexico, we have Gypsy, again with Cool Water. No picture sleeve. Just the regular standard WEA sleeve. Germany, we have Gypsy with Cool Water. Again, same thing. Almost identical to the US. A little bit more in texture, as I talked about during the Hold Me singles. A lot of these as well. Almost all these have a different kind of texture. We'll go to the one out of Italy. And I think it's pretty clear on camera even. Sorry, this one doesn't want to come out. There's kind of a... it's not really clear. But kind of this one's more a glossy finish to satin or something. It's kind of hard, but not a big deal. Just weird to me. All the differences. Out of Spain, their copy is a very, you can tell by the cover, very canvasy type of cover. Very glossy. A little bit difference on the back cover. Same thing though. Gypsy, back to the Cool Water, out of Spain. Gypsy, back to the Cool Water, out of South Africa. Very unique. Another South African record. South African records are hard to come by, as I've mentioned several times. Japan. What am I going to say here? One of my favorites. This is the promotional one with the white label. And same photo. Same photo as I had shown in the Hold Me. So the Hold Me had that other same cover that all the other Hold Me's had, but this one, but it had the same back cover photo. So that is Gypsy from Japan. And then this is a real odd duck here. This is kind of a real collectible. A lot of people who even maybe don't collect 45s will find this one because it has the very peculiar spelling of Gypsy. And this is out of France. So just the Gypsy. Oh, Diane. A different cover as well. I talked about this being one of my favorite photos. Cover of the album on the back. And interestingly enough, I think that what's funny is that on the record it is spelled correctly. It's spelled Gypsy, but for some reason on the cover it is Gypsy. To my knowledge, it's not a misprint. It's just how they pronounced it, or you can certainly call it one, but I've never seen ones with the correct spelling that would suggest that maybe it was pulled and re-put out with correct spelling. So I just think that's just how it came. And instead of Cool Water, it has Oh Diane on the back, which would be the fourth single that came out in the United States. So kind of an interesting pairing. Another interesting one is, this is very strange, out of Spain, where Cool Water was the A side and Gypsy was the B side, which is very strange. So a big collectible, but they do mention in the language that it is a not on the album Mirage. So I think maybe just to give it a little spin, or it was licensed that way, or just, I don't know. It was really cool. They found it very unique that Fleetwood Mac had put a song out that was not on the album, so maybe they just want to make a single out of it. And being as it was the B-side available, licensing-wise, probably it wasn't a big deal for them to flip it and make Cool Water the A-side and Gypsy the B-side. It would still sell the same. And just a regular label for that one. So that is Cool Water, backed with Gypsy, out of Spain. The third single was Love in Store. This came out in November of 1982. I don't think this really made much of an impact whatsoever. It wasn't until Oh Diane where Fleetwood Mac makes this really weird video for like Japan, where they're lip syncing it. It's a kind of an obscure video. You should go look it up on YouTube. It's great, but they're clearly like, you know, lip syncing, and Stevie's kind of like playing the tambourine, like yay. And it's for Oh Diane, but I don't recall much impact by Love in Store. Ironically, I did hear it on Sirius Radio not too long ago as a deep cut, not on a Fleetwood Mac channel, just as a deep cut, and I loved hearing it, you know, live and turned up on car speakers. But that was kind of cool. But Love in Store is actually one of the better songs, I think, from the Mirage album. I love them all. Mirage is, as I mentioned again, a high contender as my favorite album by Fleetwood Mac. So anyway, but Love in Store out of the USA with Love in Store. So stereo, mono, promotional. And then Love in Store with Can't Go Back, which again was a single later in the UK, well after Love in Store. Oh Diane would be in between, and this is out of Canada. So just an interesting choice. Love in Store out of Belgium with a slightly different mock-up. Just kind of different outline layout. Kind of spruce it up a little bit. I like the back showing the cassette and the album. This is one of the few that I would like to get the nicer copy. This has been rode hard and put away wet for sure. But this one is out of, again, Belgium. Oh Diane would then be the fourth single. 1, 2, 3, 4. Came out in December of 1982. And this is Oh Diane back with That's All Right, which is just the most succulent, best song. Yeah, Straight Back is really good too, but That's All Right, there's just something to it. But Straight Back and That's All Right, Stevie Nicks' cuts, in addition to Gypsy, off of the Mirage album, they're all just great cuts. But Oh Diane back with That's All Right from the USA. And this one says it's a promo, but I don't believe that that's accurate. I think it's just a standard release. Oh Diane was used as an entry from the chain was, I apologize. So they made a picture disc in the UK. Came just in a plastic sleeve with this little hype sticker. But while Oh Diane was a hit, I think, in the UK, I guess the chain was currently at that time being used in a BBC TV show called Grand Prix. It was the theme. So it just kind of made sense for them to, you know, make a little picture disc and promote it all. I love the French penguin drawing. That's another whole video at some point I'll probably make, is the different many faces of the Fleetwood Mac penguin, which is the symbol or icon, if you will, mascot, maybe is a good word for Fleetwood Mac. And go into that a bit more, but the Mirage penguin is one of my favorites. But this was a really unique picture disc with Oh Diane, Rhiannon, which is an album cut from the first album, so not like a live version or anything different, and then the chain, which was used in a UK television show. So they made a really nice picture disc out of that. I think it's just the same thing on the back too, pretty sure. Yep, exactly. Oh, actually, nope, just nothing on the back. Just the penguin. That'd be nice to frame. That'd look kind of cool framed. I should find another one of these. Oh Diane with Only Over You, another deep cut from the Mirage album. This is also from the UK. So in addition to that picture disc, this would be the regular Oh Diane single that they would have bought at whatever their version of Tower Records was. I know for a fact, I don't know, I do know for a fact that this one wasn't released in the UK, at the United States, I mean. It was a UK release. The first one I showed you, there was a 45 available, but no picture sleeve or anything like that, so. And then Oh Diane, back with Only Over You out of Ireland. Again, super rare. My second, I believe, Irish 45 that I have. Rare to get things out of Ireland. So kind of unique. No picture sleeve, just a standard sleeve. Oh Diane, back with Only Over You out of Belgium. Again, a slight difference on the cover. Very slight. Just a little bit of a layout, just some color added to it. A little bit of a different font. Same with the back, showing the album and the cassette. So, Oh Diane, back with Only Over You out of Belgium. And then really spicing things up would be Scandinavia, who took it and made the front of the album, back of the album into two pieces. Gave it some color, different color font. And this was Oh Diane, back with Love in Store. So kind of backwards. So again, Love in Store had come out in November in the UK. And Oh Diane came out in December in the UK, but they flipped this there. So it's Oh Diane is the A side, Love in Store is the B side out of Scandinavia. Germany took a pointer from Scandinavia there and did the same darn thing. The only slight variance is going to be, of course, on the record itself, which is, again, when I say slight, I mean slight. Actually, you just can't really see much difference. There is, but it's very small. The cool thing about this one from Germany is it's really cool when you get these little press things that come in them. These are hard to come by. You usually get, tells them when to play it, when it peaked at, a little information about the album. Yeah, I can't read German, but it's really cool. The record would have made it, but these being in the record is still pretty rare. So this is not only a cool German single to have, but it's really neat that it has this inside. I've got a couple with these inside, and I do mean a couple, not too many. So again, Oh Diane with Love in Store out of Germany. Oh Diane, back with That's Alright out of Canada. Standard. I think I have a couple of these. Oh, I do. Because that one is the regular one, and then for some reason I have another one with just the hole. So you have the 33 spindle one and the bigger cutout, and you'll see probably there's a little bit difference in the label, not by much. Yeah, both are Canadian, and this one happens to be the promo, and this one looks like it's a standard. But both out of Canada. Finally, something a little bit different, which is really refreshing and a great photo. Fleetwood Mac also had an HBO special for one of their concerts during the Mirage tour that was recorded and played on HBO. And this is one of the opening photos in there's like a little montage while the chain is playing at the entrance of the video. And this is a really great shot of the band. One of my favorites. Actually, a few of these. There's a few where they're kind of shadow photographed like this. And it just really stood out to me as being so cool. I would imagine everybody knows who each one is. But John, Stevie, Chris, Mick, Lindsay. Just in case. So Can't Go Back, which came out in April of 1983, back with That's Alright. So we're taking That's Alright as the B-side for a couple things. So actually, almost darn near all of Mirage saw the whole entirety of the album, almost, I believe, is on 45s, if you will. If you put all the 45s together, you'd almost have the entire album. So, and just the regular. regular label, but nice to have a different cover finally. And Can't Go Back with Love and Store out of Ireland. Again, another Irish one. Definitely different because Can't Go Back is definitely the A side and Love and Store is side 2, the B side. Then this one kind of stood out. I thought it was kind of interesting. I took these out to make sure that these were in order because, as you saw from some of my last videos, even though I'm very I don't know how to say it nicely without usually I'm just very particular about how I store my stuff. So when I pull out the piles and things are out of order, I don't understand how that happened because I very meticulously put stuff back. But this pile I made sure before I did a video, which is unusual, to make sure that everything was kind of in order of the releases, in order of like the US promos first and what have you. But I pulled this one out and it was really neat to me because these are like lingering 45s. This was a promotional only record that came out of South Africa, and the A side was Empire State. Again, super deep cut, also one of my favorites. Strange little song, but I absolutely love it, by Lindsay. And the B side is Love in Store. So again, I almost think that with this record and this last one here, you'd have every single song off of Mirage, if I'm not mistaken, in these 45s. But just kind of neat. But in it, I found that I had won these records. This one, all 3 records were from South Africa. And it was this record and, which we'll get to later, this record, Empire State, Gypsy with Cool Water, so probably that other one I had shown, and later when we get to Tango all the Night, it was Seven Wonders with Book of Miracles. And, you know, at the time when I was collecting, I won these in 2008, I was realizing just how rare things were from South Africa. But what I'm really surprised about is I won all 3 of these records for $3. So virtually $1 record before shipping, which was $4. And, you know, I look back now and I love saving receipts for some things, mostly for the info that the seller will give. But also just, you know, finding some of these, and not because I think they're worth more or I could get more or I think about flipping them, but just, you know, I'm just so grateful to have gotten them because I think they're so interesting, and I'm just surprised at sometimes the prices I do get them for. So it's just kind of fun that this was sticking in there as a little trip down memory lane. So yeah, this was really a cool find. Why it's an A side, why it got released as a single, I don't know, but it's legitimate, and there you have it. So you got Empire State backed with Love in Store from South Africa. And the last little weird gem here that I've always questioned if it's real or not, but I'm going with it, was out of Jamaica. One of the few records I have out of Jamaica. I have another one. And the reason I say it is because Jamaica and one other country, I want to say like Chile or something like that, if you look at the label, it's really poorly stamped. It's faded, it's uneven, it's real hard to read, it's kind of blurry. It is a song on the record. And it's backed with That's All Right. So, I mean, you know, realistically, I guess they could have taken some other record and put it on there. I can't quite read what all the stamp mark is, but it looks like it's possibly from a radio station. But the A side is Wish You Were Here, which is the end cut song of Mirage, and then the B side is That's All Right. And it's just very, very strange, very weird to have Wish You Were Here as an A side, and one of the maybe 2 or 3, if that, maybe 2 records that I have out of Jamaica. But I've always kind of questioned its authenticity, if it's, you know, but I've had it for many years, and I see on Discogs some people with other people with copies of it. So it makes it less likely to me that somebody did a one-off and I just happened to purchase it. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat one. So Wish You Were Here, back with That's Alright out of Jamaica. And that wraps up the second part of Mirage and the singles out of there. Again, I made the video under 30 minutes, so I'm pretty happy with myself. Next up, we're going to start with, what's next? I think Wild Heart, 1983. So we're going to get into Wild Heart. Soon thereafter, some Lindsey Buckingham in 84. And just moving right along. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking with me and going through all this and my little stories. And we'll see you next time. You have a great night. Bye-bye.